good evening and welcome to a bumper Zoom evening, a Zoom meeting this evening. And sorry I've provided the sort of the warm-up act really, haven't I? I've given everybody a bit of a laugh. What I'm going to just need to ask you to do is if everybody could mute themselves to start with, and then after the speakers have spoken, obviously if you want to ask questions, then hopefully Garth, I was going to say Garth, Steve and I. Steve's not here and I'm clearly totally incompetent. So I think we'll leave that to you, Garth, to monitor questions.
Okay.
But since lockdown began, the district membership team leaders have met once a month to hear inspirational speakers and exchange ideas and share best practice. I understand the district public image team leaders have also done the same. This evening, we've joined together for the first time, which is really, really good. And I think this is really joined up Rotary. But it's a special occasion because we're going to hear of a brand new membership opportunity within Rotary in Great Britain and Ireland. I was going to give Steve a few moments to introduce himself, but as he's not here, we won't be doing that at this point in time. So I think without further ado, hand over to Amanda and Chris, who are our speakers for this evening. So over to you guys.
Thank you very much indeed, Leslie. And it's great to be able to join with all the district leads for both membership and public image this evening. Makes a real change to be able to sort of get in front of you all, and that's one of the big advantages that Zoom has brought to us, that we're now much more able. Colin and I were having a little chat at the very beginning, a few other people online saying about how it's really opened up a world of opportunities to hear from different people and to understand you know, the bigger picture of society and of course Rotary's part in that. So really pleased to be able to have a chat with you tonight. I've got a little presentation. I've also got my colleague Chris Garner is online tonight as well. He's just waving at you with his lovely globy Rotary background. Chris has been working alongside myself for actually we've known each other for donkey's years because we were both on leadership development and training when we were both in that voluntary capacity. Chris then took the decision to move over and now lives in Portugal, but is still a very active player in the development of membership and the development of direct membership, and he's been working alongside me. Nikki Scott's also on the call tonight as well. She's director-elect, and she's going to be hopefully able to chip in and answer any questions as well from a global perspective in terms of how this initiative is rolling out. But I think now let's just crack straight on in there and let's give you a little bit of an exploration around what we've been doing, and I think importantly why and what it is and what it is not, because it's very easy to get a few misconceptions brew, and I want to try and put some of your minds at rest if you've got any queries or concerns, and hopefully generate a little bit of excitement along the way. So all things being equal, any second now you should be able to see my screen. Fingers crossed it's up there. If it isn't, then I'm sure Leslie will shout at me. But yeah, so we really wanted to think about the future. You know, Rotary's future is really important, not just to us as volunteers that are here for the, you know, in it at the here and now, but also for society going forward. I think it's really, really important that we make sure that Rotary not only survives, but it thrives way into the years beyond the time when any of us on this call will be involved in Rotary any longer. You know, I want to think in another 100 years that Rotary is as strong as ever. And so we thought, well, how can we try to encourage people into Rotary? What does today's volunteer, what does today's good citizen expect from an organisation? And what is it that Rotary has or hasn't got right now that needs to be addressed? So we took to sort of thinking about what the challenges were, and as we've got membership leads for the districts, I don't think any of this is going to be a surprise story to you, but you know, we've had a continuous decline in membership. That really is an old news story. We've been declining our membership over the past 20 years, And that's really not good news. You know, in the early days, I think everybody just thought, oh, it'll be okay. Then you reach a point of, oh my goodness, I'm sure it is going to be okay. And then we get to a point of, oh my goodness, we're just going to, you know, fade and die out. And then it's like, hang on a minute, we need to take some action. Stop having the fear and let's do something positive. So that decline has been around, I would suggest, for the majority of the time that all of us have been a part of Rotary, certainly since I joined back in 2002. As an organisation, we lack diversity, and this is something that can be quite off-putting to a new person coming in to see us, as we sit as a very white organisation. Nothing wrong, I'm a white female, you know, and I don't have a problem with that. But actually, I've got friends and colleagues, work colleagues and Rotary colleagues as well in other parts of the world, more so than in Great Britain and Ireland, that have a different background, a different ethnicity. They reflect, you know, as a group, we then reflect what society is all about. Rotary as an organisation does not show itself as a reflection of the wider demographic of Great Britain and Ireland as it stands today. We also have a poor ratio of working to non-working members. If we went back probably 20, 30 years, the majority of members would have been in employment. They would not have been retired. Again, nothing wrong with having a shed load of retired active individuals that want to be part of Rotary, but we need to have that balance, and we need to make sure we've got the back full of people coming through. We need those younger people, and we need those that are still connected, and we need those that have got time on their hands. We need some that may even have networks that give us access to disposable income. So that whole mix is really important. We can't just be a group of retirees. That's not going to serve us well in the longer run. There is a weak public perception of the benefits of Rotary and what being a member means. You know, as I've said in the next point there, volunteering is very easy, and people will often ask, well, why would I join something in order to volunteer? Well, you don't join Rotary to volunteer. You join Rotary because it's a global humanitarian service organisation and gives you a network of potential and possibility if you choose to leverage from it. And of course, we volunteer our time and our talent back into the community, both at home and overseas. But it isn't just about local volunteering. It's much, much more than that. And dare I say it, we have a very poor conversion rate on inquiries. So, you know, when inquiries leave our office and go out into the districts, they are hot leads. At that point, they've already been assessed as to whether or not they are genuinely interested in Rotary membership, and they are genuinely expressing an interest in membership. But can they find a home in the local area that fits what they're looking for? And in many cases, that's very hard to come by. That's not to say that there aren't some great bright lights shining out there where new opportunity and new ways of thinking are definitely in existence, but we do still suffer from a poor conversion rate on inquiries at the moment. So those were the challenges, but I think wherever we see challenges, we need to see what the opportunities are. And right now we've got a wealth of opportunities because the public awareness of volunteering is really high. You know, COVID-19, for all of the terrible experiences that it has delivered to our doorstep, has actually, I think, garnered the enthusiasm for volunteering and putting back into the community. So therefore, there are a lot of people out there that understand the intrinsic satisfaction from volunteering and the fact that maybe once they get past sort of the handling of the COVID situation, which obviously we're still in the thick of right now, beyond that though, they're going to think, well, how do I continue to do volunteering when those local community groups are no longer in action in the way that they were? How are they still going to satisfy that volunteering urge? Technology has been embraced by thousands. You know, here we are today on a Zoom meeting, and how difficult has it been in previous years to get our Rotary clubs to think about using technology, to even just embed it into their standard practice of operations, not to come away from meeting face to face, but to use it in addition to meeting face to face, where now the fear factor's gone completely, you know, for the majority. And we've got thousands of our members that are now going, yeah, let's get on a Zoom meeting. Oh, I'll see you on Zoom. I'm Zooming. You know, it's even become a descriptor of things that we're doing. So that's an amazing delivery for us. There has been definitely an increase in social consciousness. So, you know, people are expecting to put back into society. And this happened even really, to be honest with you, before COVID. You know, you'll hear many times that the millennial generation are very keen to make sure that the employers that they work for have a social conscience, that they are doing not just something that earns them money, but something that's making a difference. So we know that we need to be able to address the desires and the expectations of that generation and those that will come behind that generation as well, because, you know, having a cause-driven mindset isn't something that's unique anymore. There are plenty of people out there that think in this way. The global connections for Rotary are very attractive because, again, the world has become a much smaller place. So the idea of being able to talk to somebody in the USA or in Australia or in France or wherever it might be is not uncommon anymore. So we want to make sure that we're really showcasing and leveraging the fact that Rotary has those global connections available to its members. And of course, there needs to be proven organizational impact. And as we collect the stories on what our Rotary members are achieving, then that organizational impact has half a chance of being able to be measured and to be delivered back as giving somebody the opportunity to think, right, when I'm part of Rotary, I know I'm making a difference in these 6, soon to be 7 areas of focus in particular, but also in things that aren't necessarily immediately aligned to one of those areas of focuses. You've still got that opportunity to prove that organizational impact. That's why we get our clubs to fill in information on Rotary Club Central. It's not a checks and balances mechanism. It's a way in which we can actually step back and go, wow, didn't realize we'd done that much volunteering, didn't realize we'd attracted that much fundraising or grant income, didn't realize that that number of you know, external volunteers were connected to our club. It's a really good way to get people to appreciate just what they are achieving. We've also found as an opportunity that clubs are looking for some pressure to be relieved. So, you know, a lot of clubs say, well, we're struggling with getting a president, a secretary, a treasurer, but what we want to be able to do is service in the community and not worry about those, you know, those roles that traditionally have been expected of us. So that's an opportunity for us to see how can we help relieve some of that pressure. And of course, we have opportunity to differentiate Rotary from those other volunteering opportunities that exist. You know, there's some talk out there about the different ways in which younger generations in particular, but those that are tech savvy can just, you know, click of a button, put their point across and feel that they've made a difference. You know, it's very easy to volunteer. We want to show how actually you can be personally developed, professionally developed, networked with others, receive mentoring, be a mentor, all the things that actually become transferable skills. So there is an absolute wealth of opportunity out there. So when it comes to what Rotary already has on offer, we've got quite a lot. You know, we've got traditional terrestrial clubs, so those that meet bricks and mortar environments. We've had online clubs for a significant number of years now. This is not new, it's just been slow to take off. We have the hybrid version, you know, where you can do some of your work online, some of your work face-to-face. Doesn't matter whether you're meeting for a business meeting or whether you're meeting to do a service project. Lots of opportunity there. Satellites, they've been growing like topsy, but some of them have chartered as a satellite club. Others have just remained as an alternative meeting opportunity for an existing club that's in the area. We've brought in corporates. We even have a corporate club, if we want to be really open and honest about it, you know, with Bentley Cheshire. That was our first corporate club, and there are others out there that are waiting to take up the reins. And of course, more recently has been the introduction of passport clubs, where people can be part of Rotary and actually then offer their service out through other Rotary Club activities. That's more for the person that perhaps hasn't got the time to dedicate to the meetings that maybe are expected, but still want to give some volunteer time up. And I guess that, you know, what I'm really here to talk to you about tonight is another one of those yes and moments, you know, because actually all of this remains intact and we add another layer of opportunity. And that layer of opportunity comes in the form of a Rotary direct membership. So the chance for somebody to join Rotary, as opposed to join the Rotary Club of wherever it may be. That doesn't mean that joining a local Rotary Club is no longer an option, because it absolutely is. And I think we need to be really aware of the fact that this isn't to take away, it is to add to. You know, you want to make sure that anybody that joins Rotary has full member benefit experience. You know, we give out everything that one would expect for any member of Rotary. And in fact, there's going to be some learning for our traditional club models, our online models, our hybrids, satellites and passports from this development that's being undertaken. The direct membership gives opportunity for a support network of experts, and I'll come on to that in a minute as to how that really translates. Giving a connection across the region, that's Great Britain and Ireland, to others. So it's not just about having this direct membership model. You know, someone has said to me, "Oh, so it's the Rotary Club in the Ulster Rotary Support Centre." I said, "What on earth are you talking about?" Of course it isn't. You know, this is about an umbrella opportunity across the whole of our islands. This isn't something that sits just in District 1060. Giving people a chance to join Rotary with a cause-based opportunity. And again, I'm going to detail these ideas in a moment. Different hubs that could be formed, so different districts could have a hub in their own area. And of course, there is the international Rotary becoming the norm. Many times when people join a Rotary club, they never really get introduced to the fact that they have joined a massive 1.25 million member organisation. That in fact, what they've been exposed to is just a Rotary club of 15, 20, 25 people, and they think that that's it. Opportunities to volunteer at the local level are a must, because actually people join Rotary to do something as well as to be networked, and we want to make sure that people are given good opportunity to develop their skills and, importantly, become a leader in their own right. And we're going to hook onto that in just a moment. So those are the sort of the top line ideas that we were thinking of as a membership development team, and this has been work that's been undertaken by the Rotary coordinators, when Leslie, Roddy, Tony Quinn previously as well, all part of this conversation and discussion, and working with some staff team members also to help move things along. And we have another subset of Rotarians, such as Chris, obviously, as he's on the call today, that have been helping as we develop the ideas and the concepts. The images that are put on the screen here are actually quite important. So one is about the fact that, you know, when anybody joins Rotary, be it in one of the club opportunities that we've showed a little bit earlier on the screen, or in this new direct membership model, their go-to place for resources will always be the members area of the website. That is under revamp at the moment, and we're hoping to be able to launch that at the back end of September. And what you see on there is a snapshot on the landing page as to what the new Rotary members area is going to look like. Much more interactive, much more engaging, and importantly, much easier to find the information that you're looking for. At the moment, the members area of the website is a nightmare. Even I struggle to find stuff on it, which is ridiculous. So that's being completely taken down, a new site put up, and we'll launch that in September. The good news is, for those of you that struggled recently with trying to get back online through My Rotary because of the major systems update that took place over at Evanston, and I feel very sorry for my colleagues over there. That's been an absolute nightmare for them. But we haven't got any changes to the login. We're literally just creating a new set of pages that you'll be able to look into. So the infrastructure that sits behind is not being changed. So we shouldn't have the downtime that sometimes comes with a new systems launch. You also see on there Microsoft Teams, because we need a way in which we can bring people together. You know, we're using Zoom this evening, which is great. But actually, we've said we need a place where people can come together, where they can chat, where they can meet, where they can exchange ideas, and do all the things that you would expect to be able to do in a Rotary setting. And we undertook some research. We looked at a couple of different platforms, including Slack, a product called Group, and a couple of others as well. And we landed on the idea that Microsoft Teams would be the best environment for us. It's a site that has great connectivity. It's a site that people are becoming more used to these days, and it's very user intuitive. So we're hoping that that will create a good entry point experience to our members. So I'm going to show you, if I can, what the Teams site will will look like once it's fully configured. We're hoping to launch that in the early part of September. Obviously, I've got to go to Governing Council first. You're getting this ahead of them. They've had a presentation. You're getting the next, and then they'll get the final one before we actually properly launch in September. Yeah, so I'll just show you the spider diagram, if I may, that sort of it outlines how the Teams site will operate, and it will also hopefully give me a chance to explain some of the concepts that you're seeing on the screen right here at the moment. So this is a visual identity for what the Teams site will look like. So from an organization perspective, there has to be an overarching umbrella, and that's the Rotary Global Hub. So Rotary Great Britain and Ireland, Global Hub for membership. Within that, we've got the left-hand side and the right-hand side, and they are differentiated by the fact that one side is the doing part of Rotary, that sits on the left, and on the right-hand side is the side that is the information, the learning, the development opportunity. So if we just take the left-hand side to start off with, you might recognize some of these terms: join leaders, exchange ideas, and take action. Well, we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. We thought it was only right and proper that we created teams inside the organization that reflect the goals of the organization. So when we talk about joining leaders, a lot of times members think, oh, I'm not yet a leader. That's not for me. I'm not ready to be a leader. And what we're trying to do is actually showcase to all of our members that everybody is a leader in their own right. Some will be those sort of, energetic, hard-hitting, punchy type leaders that are going to be, standing up front, flying the flag, doing all the bits that they do. Others will be quiet leaders that are just supporting, running a project, helping another person. It doesn't matter what the level is at. And I'll use that term very carefully because actually I'm not too keen on levels. I think hierarchical structures should be squashed in Rotary. But it is about whatever your ambition is, where your passion sits, how much you want to get involved should be reflected in this join leaders area. It's an opportunity for you to go and see other members in the hub, an opportunity to see other teams in the hub. So you've got people that will be sitting in here that have joined Rotary directly into the global hub environment, and others like myself. I'm an active member in a Rotary club, Redditch Kingfisher. I've got no aspiration or ambition to move from that club into this direct membership, but what I would like to do as a Rotarian, forget my day job, as a Rotarian, I'd like to think, well, maybe I've got something to offer. Maybe I can help some people. Maybe I can even get involved in some projects via this other opportunity. So, I, for example, as a non-member of this group, would put my profile into this other team members environment. And those that had joined the direct membership model and weren't holding membership somewhere else would be in the Rotary Hub members profiles. Those profiles, we're going to give people a chance to write a little bit about themselves, but importantly, just throw up a quick video. It's so easy these days. Get your own iPhone. We're not looking for, some TV broadcast quality. We're looking at something that's just going to showcase you to others within the group. So the join leaders is really important, and the drop-ins, this is where people can come and get together on a regular basis. And we've got different times to make sure that we can be all-encompassing and meet the needs of everyone. So we have a breakfast opportunity, a coffee time opportunity, we have a tea time opportunity, and I like this one the best, which is the happy hour opportunity. So we've got lots of different ways in which you can come together, but rather than separating out into those different channels, the conversation piece around the drop-ins will be down one line. So again, trying to make everything inclusive, not leave people feeling like they're missing out if they can't get to something, putting pressure on them. The whole concept is to relieve the pressure and allow people to naturally want to get involved and do a little bit more if time and family and work commitments allow. The exchange ideas, that's where at the moment we've got the membership growth, but this exchange of ideas could be about anything. It could be about, I don't know, I've been on a course in the Learning Centre, I want to come back, I want to share something with you, I'm going to exchange the ideas through these channels. So this is another team that's been set up. I think the one that probably interests most people the most is the take action. And this list here is by no means definitive and actually will not be laid out in this way when we open up the team site. These ideas came out from a Zoom meeting from people that are already a member of the Global Hub, because we had the Rotary Club of Great Britain and Ireland, which was established some 3 years ago. And so there are members in that, some of them staff members, some of them Rotarians that would have left, others that were Rotarians that didn't want to join a club but wanted to come in and be part of this online environment. And they said, well, these are the things that I'm interested in. So when Chris was asking the question, you know, what's your passion? What drives you to be part of Rotary? What are the things that excite you? And ideas that came out just from that one Zoom meeting were about training and educating young people, getting involved in the foundation, sand dams, water aid. One of them, cleaning up the River Aire. So really specific about a particular project that they wanted to try and get more volunteers to help. And the idea here is that as somebody says, this is something that I like, that we give them the opportunity to lead on it. So we say, right, okay, so you like a channel under the Take Action team opened up. And so it might be on, I don't know, my example, I've got a passion for defibrillators. I think public access defibrillators are really important within the community. So I might say, yeah, do you know what, I'd really like to expose the opportunity and the idea of installation of public access defibrillators. So Chris would say, okay, Amanda, you're leading on it. We'll open up the channel. And then I will engage with the people in the group and say, anybody want to know about this? I've got some conversation pieces. I've got some resources, and we start to share. So it becomes very much that bottom-up doing environment that is being opened to these members. Over on the right-hand side, this is actually quite an important space, because the Rotary Global Hub team needs to have a place to chat. There's an incubation zone. So this is where we've got people that are coming in and just getting used to the idea of the hub. So we're mentoring and supporting them. There's hub development itself. So this will be a private channel, which is about how do we make sure that this whole thing, keep the train on the track, and a general conversation channel. So rather than ending up with lots of chit chat about, oh, by the way, I went down to the seaside at the weekend. It was amazing. There was nobody on the beach. And I found this, 20-mile space where no one was around and I could take my face mask off and everything was great. They can have that kind of chit chat in the general channel rather than bring it into these more specific doing channels over on the left-hand side. The bit that's important, I was pleased to see Chris Davies is online tonight, is the learning side of things. So learning experiences, the onboarding, and Chris Davies is working with Chris Garner on the onboarding, because we want to make sure that when people come into this space, that they aren't left to flounder and try and work out Rotary for themselves. There actually are some milestone points that we take them through about learning, about getting a My Rotary account set up, making sure that they understand where the learning centre is, understanding the programmes that are going to best support their development and understanding, exploring what the foundation is at an early stage rather than trying to backtrack over on that further down the line. So this how-to section is going to be important, and it'll be a how-to use Teams as well, because we want to make sure that everybody has the ability and capability to use the system. Information, regional, national and international. Regional is the districts, and in here are links to every one of the 25 different websites are actually referenced in this area, so that whatever's happening at that regional level can be explored by any member that's in here, because ultimately what we'd like to see is people leave this environment and find a forever home somewhere else. And for us, that's a celebration point. And that brings me hopefully neatly onto this bit at the bottom, which is member places. So within each region, there's opportunity for a sub-hub of the Rotary Global Hub to be created. So that could be in London. In this case, we've been speaking with London, Cumbria, Ireland, Iberia, because we've got our friends from Portugal already in. District could be District 1060, Thames Valley, it doesn't matter. But this is a space where people who are coming from a similar geography can get together, and hopefully when they reach the magic number, will either be able to be hived off as a satellite club within that district, or if they get to 20 and above, hallelujah, a brand new Rotary club. And that's what we're aiming for here. This is not about having, 50,000 people all sitting in direct membership. It's about giving an opportunity to create Rotarians before they get to the club point where you have to hope that they're going to learn how to be a Rotarian and that that club itself understands what it's all about. And some of that might sound a bit harsh, and I apologize if it does, but it really is the reality of what we've been experiencing, that, you know, somebody walks into a new Rotary club, the people that have been there are fantastic individuals, but they aren't necessarily thinking about all that Rotary has to offer, and aren't necessarily skilled or experienced in how to educate somebody else on their Rotary journey. So this is a way of actually helping that progression. I've put this information in here because Rotary International is also looking at direct membership, and its entry into this is a product called Connect by Rotary. There's a pilot happening in Chicago and Houston, and Rotary Great Britain and Ireland is the third pilot that they want to run out as well. Now, Connect is very different because this is about, as it says, does what it says on the tin, connecting people. It's not necessarily about membership. So in here, this is a place to have conversation, professional development conversation, in particular, mentoring. There are some volunteer opportunities that are coming up, and there'll be a subtle undertone of Rotary within it. But this is, I think, for us, I believe this would take us off track if all we did was just connect with people. I think we need to have a more direct approach to gaining members, because we need to increase our membership numbers to support the community activities that we wish to undertake. But for Rotary International as a global organisation, they're looking at a number of different pillars at the same time of how they're going to operate. So we've been helping them with the Connect platform, getting involved in that, and sharing at the same time, sharing back what we're doing on the direct membership model as well. So yes, I just wanted to share that very briefly with you. So the idea really is that we all get involved. The program for direct membership is about the fact that from the centre, and that sounds an awful expression, it's a lot of Rotarians in this, not just staff members, we actually support the administration and the core induction programme of new members that want to come in via this mechanism. And the district teams get involved and support the service programmes and develop regional leaders. So it's really important that districts are involved in this, and that's why the Governing Council has been exposed to the concepts at an early stage, and will again be revisiting this in September with them. There is a fee to join Rotary, and we wanted to make sure that the fee was as equitable as possible, taking into consideration the variances that exist from the far north of the country to the southwest, to London, to the east, over to Ireland, be it Northern Ireland or the Republic. We wanted to try and give a fair representation of what member fees should be. So this isn't coming in and having cheap Rotary. Again, that was a concept that was out there at one point. Oh, well, you're just going to have to pay the £67 and that's it. No, that's not it. It's a straightforward £10 per month, cup of coffee a week. That's the way it's going to be marketed. And people understand then that there is a value in their Rotary membership. Of that £120, £25 per person will go to the district where that person lives. So wherever they come from, irrespective of the fact that they've come into direct membership, because districts are going to be asked, please, can you engage with these people as well at the local level? You need to be compensated and make sure that any events that you're putting on have the per capita fees that you would expect from any other member that was hanging out, be it District 1060 or 1260 in my old neck of the woods. You know, you need to have something come back. Now, I know some district fees will be lower, some district fees will be higher. Again, we have to think about what would be a fair amount and a level amount across the piece. So we went for that £25 per person going back into the district to support looking after a member at the local level. So we're really trying to bring everybody into this now. I'm really pleased that you've come online today to hear a little bit more. I think probably it's time now to open up and take some questions, and obviously Chris will be joining me in answering those questions as well. But before we take the questions, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to ask if Chris would just like to open up his microphone, just, is there anything that I should have put in that I forgot, Chris?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the only thing I'd say is that the spidergram is that you saw is an ever-moving thing for people who want to take up the passions along the take action side, or if there are groups who want separate sub-hubs on the other side. It's a movable feast. We're trying to get the architecture right before it launches, but we're not going to, so hey ho. We'll do it as best we can.
Yeah, bit of 80-20 rule in there. If you wait for perfection, you'll never do anything. So yeah, so we're trying to move it as long as best we can. So Leslie, that's kind of the presentation side of it done. Really, I think now it's the interaction. I think let's have the questions coming in. I think obviously there's the chat window, and someone says, how do we access the £10 per month option for existing and new clubs as well as the hub? Just crack on and do it. All right. So I think the challenge for us is we can't dictate to a Rotary club how much they should charge their members to be a member. And some clubs charge a lot because they hook in the cost of their meals. Obviously at the moment that's great because people are hopefully getting a benefit because they're not meeting and eating. But yeah, there's nothing to stop you. My own Rotary club, £10 a month. In fact, I pay 15 because I'm part of the lottery as well, because we try to win a few quid as the weeks go by. But the actual base membership fee to join for Redditch Kingfisher, £10 a month. Really easy. It's done on a standing order. Yes, when somebody brand new comes along, then we take £60 up front because of the way in which Rotary International charges its fees, and we don't want to be left short. So we say, right, it's £60 and then go on to £10 a month. And sometimes what we do is we court people for maybe 3 months and we say, well, why don't you put in, 20 quid a month, see how you go. And then we've got their 60 quid. And then we say, and then we'll drop you down to £10. So you just got to be a bit creative, Liam. So that's what I would suggest, if that helps on answering that question. Thank you. Okay, so it says, Alan Moss says, how does it fit with Rotary family? Can Rotaract, Interact and alumni join? Absolutely, they can. And I'm going to bring Nikki in now, if I can. Sorry, Nikki, put you on the spot a little bit there, but you expect to just have a nice, relaxing evening, so my apologies. But we've had some thoughts, haven't we, in particular about Rotaract. So any comment that you would throw in on this one?
Well, thank you. Thank you for a great presentation, Amanda. I couldn't be more excited about this opportunity because I see it as a way of connecting everyone, really, in a forum where they're not meeting behind closed doors. So it's just a wonderful opportunity. So we've tried for ages to try and keep alumni engaged. So alumni are people who have experienced a youth exchange or an ambassadorial scholarship or a peace scholar. It would be such an easy way for them to come and meet and stay engaged and active at the same time. But often those people, especially of younger generations, don't have that time commitment, as Amanda said, to be able to come and meet regularly at a club meeting. So it would be pulling in people who were never going to join the clubs in the first place. And this is now giving them a way to stay connected with us. And then with the double hub opportunity that Amanda referenced, they would also be linked to their local district where they live at the same time. So it's really a win-win. Absolutely.
Thanks, Nikki.
I'll just jump in there, if I may.
Please do.
A couple of things that are happening because I'm in conversations with lots of, I'm in conversations with lots of people. I'm just going to throw this dog out. Go on. And we've been talking with Heidi and James about the E-Rotaract Club of Great Britain and Ireland, and have agreed that we are going to form a close alliance with them. James Thomas, their president, is an honorary member of this hub. We've been talking to the Peace Fellows, and the idea is that as new Peace Fellows get to Bradford, who are obviously older than the Rotaract age group as was, and we're going to try and fold them into the hub, and that should start that alumni part of the process. So yeah, I think, we're looking at folding whatever into it, because the hub itself isn't going to actually do anything. It's the groups within the hub that are going to do all of the traditional Rotary service or whatever floats their boats, really,
They find their passion and they find someone else who also has the same passion and get to work.
Yeah, which is a fantastic way forward, I feel. Thank you for that, both of you. Appreciate it. So I got a question from Nick Blurton. He says, what is the process for somebody to become a member? Really easy peasy lemon squeezy. So what we do is we get an inquiry that comes in, and they can fill it in off the internet. We're going to have a landing page on the Rotary GB&I website. So if they're interested in this direct membership, we'll find a nice way to phrase that, because I need to, you know, I am acutely aware of the need to be sensitive to our existing nearly 1,700 clubs that are out there. So we've got to make sure the phrasing of this is right. But it is really important that they fill that in. They get qualified. So Claire in my office, as she does with all inquiries that come in, we make sure that they are genuinely interested in becoming a member. And then they'll get pushed over to Chris Garner. So we give him the job next of actually having a conversation. And what we do to start off with is we bring them into the team site. So they have to fill in a form. It's an interactive PDF, and the important part of that form, apart from us learning where they are, who they are, we need to make sure that they understand what the values are and what the expected behaviours are. So they sign up there and then to the values and the expected behaviours of the team site. Because within this team site, something I didn't mention is it's almost like a 3 strikes and you're out position here, because it's very easy for particularly existing Rotarians to get a little bit carried away and suddenly start airing all their dirty laundry, talking off at a tangent about stuff that actually is totally irrelevant in the context of trying to have a positive membership experience. All right, it might be important, but there are different channels to actually air your grievances, and that space is not one. So we have a conversation if that does happen, and just obviously give people the chance to reflect on how they perhaps should bring a complaint about Rotary forward, rather than spreading it into a space that's meant to be for positivity. So they'll do that. So they'll be on the team site, Chris and others. So Leslie, it doesn't really matter who it is. We've got a group of experienced Rotarians that will be kind of doing some hand holding with these people, taking them through milestones of understanding what Rotary is, to really work out whether this is the right place for them. And then when they say, hey, do you know what, I'd really like to join Rotary, then they fill out the standard membership form, the proposal form. So we get all their information, again, interactive PDF. It all gets signed off, comes back. So we've got a signed form. They've signed up on the privacy policies, GDPR, all those good things that need to be recognised, the 4-way test, the values of Rotary, etc., etc. So all of that is now embedded as links onto that form. They then get triggered for finance. So we make sure that we've got some money. That form goes off. We go through a 7-day process for the good old constitutional folk that might be on the call at the moment. So we make sure that there is at least a 7-day window before we bring them into Rotary. But bear in mind, we will have gotten to know them during the early days of being part of teams. We will have done as best we can. When I say background checks, you can't do DBS and all those things, but the same as you would with any member, you know, have a quick look at their Facebook channel, have a look at Twitter, and just see what kind of conversation they're having out there. At the end of the day, Rotary is looking for people with the right heart and mind. I don't care what their bank balance looks like. I don't care about, you know, their educational background particularly, but if they've got the right heart and mind, then that's where Rotary fits. And so then once they've paid their dues, they come in and they're a part of Rotary. They've joined at that point. From the office, we will send them a membership pin and a new member guide, the print guide that we've got. So they've got all that documentation, the same as any other Rotarians. So if they then go and visit a Rotary club, they're going with the Rotary pin as a Rotary member. Really, really important to understand this. So we have a flow chart for what the process is. That's all been thought through, and we've got the checks and balances as best you can with anybody. Let's be honest and just say it. You know, we've got members of Rotary that it's transpired should never have been members of Rotary. It doesn't matter whether they're going to a bricks and mortar club or whether it's an experience. We can still, unfortunately, have people that perhaps have not got the right value infrastructure going on. So that's how we bring them in. Mike Sanders says, what about the £15 new club per member fee? Isn't it about time that disappeared? I absolutely agree with you, Mike. Yes, it should. Now, suppose this is a get out of jail free card, because of course a Rotarian that's joining a brand new club doesn't pay £15. And of course it does depend on at what stage of the Rotary year that the new club is being formed as to whether actually it is a nice cost-effective £15 or whether it's a rip-off £15. So you need to work out the best time to be chartering the club. If you can bring in new members, that's why satellites have worked so well, because satellites, of course, have joined the host. So if the satellite then grows and it becomes a Rotary club, there's no charter fees involved. I think it's a nonsense, and I think we need to try and somehow encourage our colleagues to disband that. Maybe that's something for the director to pick up and take back to the board meeting, so we can have that conversation. Something outside of my control. Graham Martin says, is this like a national e-club? Yeah, it is. Absolutely. And originally it was formed as the Rotary Club of Great Britain and Ireland. We've just simplified that now because we don't want to be confusing people with clubs that are out there. And it isn't, you know, District 1060 is the chartered district for this club. And one thing I didn't mention earlier was the fact that I've been speaking with Evanston, Rotary International in Evanston, because one of the things we don't want to do is disadvantage the 24 districts that haven't got this club sitting chartered to it. So if there were like 200 people that were a member, you know, in this direct model, and only, I don't know, 10 of them came from District 1060, then District 1060 should only be being credited with 10 members. So this has a big impact when it comes to things like districting. All right, so if you're in a district that's under threat because your numbers are low, the last thing you will be wanting to do is to give away members to another district. So I've been speaking with the colleagues on the club and district support side of things, with the director of membership development, and I've got a conversation coming up with the chairman for the districting committee, who's a Rotarian, to say, look, you know, you need to back off of trying to redistrict our environment. That's not to say perhaps that isn't a conversation piece, but it's certainly not a conversation piece for today because it's too distracting. And let's just think about growing the membership numbers. Let's not worry about the districts. So
Could I just jump in there, please?
Yeah.
We aren't a club, we're a hub. So there is a difference between a national league club and ourselves, in the sense that the ones you've talked about where we're rooted in districts and what have you, but also because we're not being treated by that home district like a club anyway. I think that's important. We're not looking for a visit from their governor, we don't have a governor, that sort of issue. We are not a club as we know it, Jim, you know.
yeah, it is a very different environment, but we will give opportunities for people to take on leadership roles, because at the moment that's the way the rule book of Rotary goes. So if you want to be an assistant governor, you have to have been a club president. If you want to be a district governor, you have to have been a club president. So you know, we want to give people those leadership opportunities. We want to spread that across the country as well. So so we're busy battling some of the constitutional constraints, but trust me, I'm a bit like a dog with a bone on this one, because I think it's crazy to restrict us in the way in which we do. Maybe I shouldn't say those things, but that's how I feel. So anyway, so next question, Segan says, Amanda, who is our audience? Great question. Okay, our audience are those people that would otherwise be interested in Rotary but not join when they saw the local Rotary club in their area. All right, so being quite blunt about it, there's, when I was governor back in 1011, District 1260, and Wendy's on the line, obviously Dave's been there, her partner, and I used to go around at that time, it was go visit all the clubs, and you merrily go around and you visit all these clubs and you come away thinking, wow, nice people, but I'd never want to go to that club. You get that feel, don't you? You have a feeling about something, and you home in on the areas that actually resonate for you. Then there'll be a couple of other clubs and you go, yeah, do you know what? If I needed to relocate, I could see myself fitting in here. But there are some people that just can't find that right home. And I'm going to be really straightforward. There are some Rotary clubs that will not allow somebody through their door to be a part of Rotary. So we're trying to overcome some of those barriers. Our marketing for this is going to be out there, particularly in the corporate sector, but actually we will target specific, I'm going to say professions, and that sounds a bit narrow, but you can't just do a scattergun approach and hope you're going to get some easy wins on it. I don't think that will work. So we need to go, all right, let's go blue light sector. Let's try them first. So we can go into their publications. We've got groups and channels that they are talking in and they're active in. So I suppose in some ways, the same places that you might expect any Rotary membership marketing to take place, we'll be looking at those channels, but very much working towards bringing people to join Rotary, become Rotarians, and then introducing them to the wonders of clubs that are out there. So this isn't a come in and stop. This is a come in and see what else is around. And if you want to move on to somewhere else, you're going to be, you know, able to do that and actually almost encouraged to do it, and without sort of slinging anybody out of the door. Alan Moss is saying, can you transfer from a club to direct membership and just drop into other Rotary meetings? Okay, we need to be really careful about this. We are picking up members that otherwise would have left Rotary. That is absolutely factual. So yes, you can leave a club and come into direct membership, but I think it's a really slippery slope to promote to the membership out there. Why don't you leave your club and come to direct membership? Because there wouldn't be any of those other Rotary meetings to drop into if that happened. So, you know, we've got to be really mindful and considerate as to how we put this out. And when people are already existing members and they are coming to us to join the hub, there is quite a detailed conversation piece that's going on to make sure that their reasons for leaving are with substance, I suppose. I can't think of a better way to describe it. But you don't just want a mass exodus. That would just be a travesty, in my opinion. So we won't be encouraging the transfer, but we will pick up those that have left or those that are on the brink of leaving where we can. So that's.
Jump in there, if I just may.
Sure.
I think because of the audience we're talking to, the membership chairs, since the 1st of July, each of you in your district will have Rotarians who are no longer Rotarians because they've stopped paying their fees, either because of the normal reasons we get a big drop on that date, or because of COVID, they're not sure where it's going forward from here, and their clubs are folding. We've picked up a few people of that sort, and we are happy to provide them with a home for a day, a week, a month, a year, however long it takes. But we're happy to work with you guys as membership chairs in the district to try and turn that little group back into a viable Rotary club in your district, because we don't have the numbers issues that you have, over 8 for a satellite, 20 for a charter. And in a sense, if we can rescue these, as one of your number famously called orphans, then why not try and keep them? But we do not want to be poaching members from places.
Thanks, Chris. And I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying there. We will be doing outreach to members that have left Rotary, particularly going back over the past 5 years. We have to be really careful here, GDPR. All right, when you've left, technically you've left. It means you don't want anything more to do with Rotary. So we're going to have a very careful first touch outreach to those people. And then from that point, we'll only be able to engage with those that determine they would like to engage with us. So we can't go out as a marketing exercise. That's against the law. So we have to be really careful as to how we do this. But I think there is a great opportunity here to pick up, I think, some of those people where the experience, and we know not just anecdotally, but from surveys that have been undertaken, we know people leaving within the first couple of years have left because their experience was not what they expected. There's been personality clashes. That's been a big element of loss to Rotary, of members, and people being held back. We've got people saying, oh no, you haven't been in Rotary long enough to be an XYZ. Even clubs where they need a president, yet they'll say to a younger member of the club, oh no, you're not old enough, you haven't got enough experience yet. Without that person, you haven't actually got a president. So my goodness, what on earth is going on in the heads of some of our members? So we've got it hopefully going in the right direction, but to reinforce, this is not a poaching exercise. This is a yes and we want to see where we go. Question came in: has this hub initiative been trialled anywhere yet, and what has been the learning outcomes? I think you can say yes, it has in this country, because the Rotary Club of Great Britain and Ireland was formed some 3 years back, chartered, I'm sure it's 3 years, maybe even 4 now, but we never really got it off the ground. We never had the catalyst that enabled us to be able to do the things we want to do. Change of leadership every year doesn't help, because you get agreement with one set of governors and then the next lot come along and you're almost back to square one again. And I say that as a PDG myself. So it's quite tough sometimes, but we now seem to have the catalyst for the change that's required, and we've got the infrastructure. So, you know, the technology is there, people are willing to use it. And interestingly, again, I reference back to our colleagues in the US, the Director of Membership there, Brian King, very interested in what we're doing, because they're trying to learn how they could introduce a direct membership model. It's easy for us because by comparison, we've actually got quite a small space that we're dealing with geographically. When you take the rest of the world, it's enormous. So so they're looking to learn from us, and it's great to know that we are being valued in this way, and seen as a bit of a beacon out there, which is amazing. And I hope Leslie and the team can pick up on that as well.
And can I just jump in on that question of, if you don't mind, just
of course.
The clubs, you know, it not poaching from the clubs. Far from this being a detraction from the clubs, I see it as a major gain, in that we're building an onboarding program which can be shared to the districts and the clubs as well. We're showing that it really pays to ask members coming in what their passion is and meeting them where they are. The clubs could do a lot to learn from that, instead of just carrying on doing whatever they're doing and never ask a new member, what is it that brings you to Rotary and what do you love to do? Because, you know, the clubs could be doing that too. And then the other benefit that Chris touched on, but just to reinforce it, is if they're starting a new club, they can actually have it's very hard to get to the critical numbers of starting a new club, whether it's 8 for satellite or 20 for a new club. But we could keep those people who are interested in Rotary busy in the Global Hub and learning more about Rotary, and then go back and graduate once they've got to a critical mass, and they could sort of still stay as a unit. So there's lots of wins for the club in doing this.
Can I just add to that? I mean, all of you membership chairmen that are on this call would be very welcome to be members of our Microsoft Teams. And if you felt it was useful to you, and I know a couple of you already are, we can actually put a sub-hub to one side for you and the people who live in your district, and you can develop what you want to do there in that space with some support and not having to do the whole thing on your own. And if that will help you, that would be great, because nothing would make us happier than to be recruiting sergeants for all strong districts across the Great Britain and Ireland. Huh?
Absolutely, I think it is really important. Now, this is a support opportunity, as Nikki put in a comment back to Graham Martin's question about the National E-Club. You know, we're trying to reduce the amount of administration burden. You know, bring that in. You know, I've got staff that work 9 to 5, get paid to do so. We can pick up the slack in this area for you, and then you can get on with what I class as a Rotarian as the fun bit, which is, you know, building the relationships, the friendships, doing the Rotary projects, and just batter down some of the red tape and bureaucracy that does still unfortunately exist within Rotary. It's going to be a little while before we can change the rule book, but actually we've got a workaround here, and our colleagues at Rotary International are very excited by the direction of travel. Some of the changes that would be required need a council on legislation change. You know, it's mad. That only comes around every 3 years. So this is giving us an opportunity, I hope, to provide a support infrastructure to you and to your districts in order to be able to grow Rotary. And that's what it's all about for all of us. It's about having a strong, healthy, vibrant Rotary experience for ourselves and for other people, but importantly for those that we are seeking to aid within the community. So this is a good thing as far as I'm concerned.
Amanda, can I come in now, because we have had our hour, and I'm mindful that a lot of them have got busy schedules. I don't know if Garth or Chalmers or Steve want to add anything. I think we could talk we could talk for the next 3 hours about this, and hopefully everybody has found it really interesting and really exciting. And I think we may have to repeat this on another occasion to just take it on the next stage. But I'll just give Garth and Steve an opportunity, and Chalmers, if any of them want to say anything as co-coordinators. Garth?
Yes, Leslie. No, well, first of all, thanks very much for allowing our team leads to join. I think that was really good initiative and something I think we can work on going forward. Really good to hear it and sort of hear it firsthand, and a lot of set of brilliant questions. As we're sort of suggesting, there's maybe a top 10 question list we could complete out of that. And as I said to our team members, for anybody that's not available, we'll create the recording and then we can share that around. So I'm conscious of time, so I'll pass over to Steve and say thanks very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, great presentation. I mean, obviously, we knew a little bit about this already, and it's really cemented it for me as well. I think it's a great step forward, and I think obviously we on the membership side of things will it gives us a little bit of time to maybe go away, and in a month's time when we have our next meeting, we can maybe answer some more questions that come up. But of course, if you do have questions, you can always send those into myself and Leslie, and we can see what we can do to answer them. But no, very exciting, and let's see where it takes us.
Thanks, Steve. Chalmers, do you want to add anything?
Oh, I don't want to take up any more time. I think Garth's covered, but I'd just like to thank Amanda for breaking into her holiday to give this presentation this evening. Thank you, Amanda.
Thanks, Chalmers.
Yeah, thanks ever so much, Amanda, and I'll hopefully I've recorded it better than I worked my camera.
But we will make an FAQ, Leslie. I think I've just done a bit of a capture of the questions that have come in, and so we'll put it in an FAQ together. We've also got a little leaflet that's just on the final stages of sign-off, so we'll be able to send that out to share with you as well. That gives a little bit of the insight into you know, the sales pitch, internal sales pitch on this.
Yeah.
May I ask, will the recording of tonight be available?
Sorry?
This has been recorded this evening, yes? Will
Yes, it is, Joe.
that us as a recap? Okay, that's all right.
Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks Amanda, thanks Chris, and thanks everyone.
Leslie, I've put my email address in the chat at the side. If anybody wants to contact me that way to find out some more, happy to answer them.
Okay, that's fine. If not, I've got it anyway, and Amanda has, so we can always pass it on.
Yeah,
so thanks everybody.
Anybody on?
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening, and thanks for all joining us.